Cool. Thanks very much, everyone. We've got Digital Stormers head coach John Dobson and our captain Salmaan Moerat. Robert, maybe we start with you. Obvious choice.
Yeah, no, very. Can't answer it any other way, Mike. No, but obvious standouts. I think, yeah, we had experience with Salmaan captaining us in the first URC where he did very well, especially on that first tour. But, you know, despite the injury, we've seen so much growth in him. I think this is going to be a generational captain of the Stormers. I think when we put our boots down in a few years' time, we're going to reflect on one of the great Stormers captains. You know, he understands it, he understands the project, he understands what he's trying to do, he has that complete respect of his teammates as a person, as a player, and as a leader. So we were absolutely thrilled to have him back in as our captain for the long term. Really excited.
Awesome. Moon, you've obviously done the job before, but still a big moment if you think about the people who've done this before you.
Absolutely, Mike. I think I have to give thanks to Dobbo and his coaching staff for believing in me and for giving me this opportunity. And by that comes a larger responsibility. I need to serve the team firstly, and it's always a massive honor and privilege. And like you said, there's been some fantastic leaders before me, none other than Captaincy, and you know I'm not going to try to change much. Obviously, Captaincy's done some great work here and instilled some great values. So along with that, I would like to add my bit. But other than that, it's a massive privilege to lead the side.
And I suppose we've had some two good years, you know, but to come in now, quite exciting what can still be achieved going forward.
Absolutely. I think, you know, our mission is not going to change much. Our ultimate goal is to make Cape Town smiling or to keep Cape Town smiling for that per se. I think in that respect, we'd like to reach out to the communities a bit more. I think we'll try to do that. But ultimately, our main goal is to play well rugby on a Saturday. If we do that, half our job is done. So I'm really looking forward to this challenge.
Nice one. I'm sure these guys are also looking forward to having you as a captain. Right. You've got questions? Go for it, please.
Okay, shall I start, Mike?
Okay, we have Stephen first, and then we go Gavin.
Okay.
Cheers, Mike. Salmaan, congratulations. It must be very special for you, as you said. In terms of, you spoke of Captaincy's values that he established, and then what you would like to bring personally as well. Can you just tell me what of Captaincy you would like to retain and build on? And then also, you know, is there anything like a personal touch that you feel you can add, maybe something new?
Yes, thank you, Stephen. Yeah, I think what Captaincy did really well. Captaincy wasn't a man of many words. He often tried to lead by example. And that's something I tried to mold my game around that as well. And that's something I learned from him. So I think I have to give a large respect to him for doing that and for setting that example. So I'll try my utmost best to chip in on that. Other than that, you know, like I said, we're not going to try to change much. This is a fairly experienced group of players. A lot of the Springboks aren't here now at the moment, but there's a large group of experienced rugby players, and at the end of the day, they all know their job. And if I can play well on a Saturday, I think that's half my job done as a captain. So a lot of the responsibility will lay on myself to perform, first of all. And it's a challenge that I'm willing to take on.
And then just how's your knee progressing? Will you be fit for the start of the season, pre-season friendlies? I mean, what's the timeline there?
Yeah, Stephen, it's going really well. I'm currently in full swing with the guys in the pre-season training. So I should be ready for the first couple of warm-up games when we have our camp in Wilderness. So we're on track at the moment, and I'm really excited about that return.
Cool, Steve. Can we go for Gavin?
Yeah, sorry, Mark. Steve sort of asked the question when he asked Salmaan about the knee. But just Salmaan, just one thing I was going to ask you. Congratulations, first of all. You sort of like almost like one of us last year, and actually for quite a bit of the previous year, in the sense of sort of sitting in the stands. Can you hear what I'm saying? Yeah, you're sort of you're almost like sitting in the stands with the rest of us. You must have been a very frustrating time, and you obviously like disappointed you couldn't challenge for a World Cup place. Does it sort of make up for that frustration that you must have felt? And how you've already sort of answered the question of how hungry you are, but maybe just speak more about that. Thanks.
Yeah, I think obviously it's very frustrating missing out on a potential opportunity in the Springbok side. But thinking about for me personally, I felt it was the only thing that was in my control was obviously getting back to full fitness. Obviously, the initial blow was very tough, and the realization of that. But I think what really helped was my support system back home. The coaches have been, they've been really great in that sense. I've always felt like I was part of the side. Like you said, it wasn't ideal watching the rugby from the sidelines, and it was never easy. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this year, and hopefully, if I look after myself, if I look after my body, hopefully there's a couple more World Cups left. And but the goal right now is to play well for the Stormers, and to lead well. And hopefully the rest will take care of itself.
Thanks.
Cool, Gavin. Next is Leeton. Yes, Leeton.
Hello, guys. I hope you can hear me. Thanks. Salmaan, congrats. Hi, Mikey. Salmaan, just for you. Stephen obviously had his own set of challenges as a captain. He did a lot of work with Dobbo behind the scenes in getting the squad together in those trying times. But things are sort of stabilizing now, or they are stabilized. You have a different challenge that will be set on the field. Looking at that Champions Cup group and how well you did in the past 2 seasons of URC. Do you see it that way, that you have a different sort of challenge ahead of you as a captain?
Yeah, Leeton, I think each season brings its own challenges. I think this year will be nothing less. I think you mentioned the championship group. That in itself is a challenge, but an exciting one. Something that we're really looking forward to. If I'm not mistaken, the first home game that we'll be having at home will be against Lorax, and that's something we're really looking forward to as a group. And I think for us as a group, our biggest challenge will be ourselves. We set a certain standard this past 2 years, and that's a standard that we'd like to maintain or even get better at. So even now with pre-season training, it will be really important for us to push those standards. Like I said, we will be our biggest enemy at the end of the day. We can maintain those standards or not better, then we're in for a long run.
Salmaan, and then just lastly from my side, you obviously have your group of leaders around you in the team. You had Captaincy in the squad as well previous years, but just off the field, where do you look to as sort of those guys that inspire you to lead as well?
Now I think this year will be the same. We'll have like I said earlier, we've got a very experienced group of players. So my job will be a lot easier. There will be a very, very experienced leadership group around me. Like I said, a few of the Springboks are away at the moment, but currently in the squad there's a few quality leaders. I'm not going to go into depth into now about that group of players, but there will be a nice group of leaders around me and game drivers for that sake.
Cool, thanks. Next is Justin. Yes, Justin.
Thanks, Mikey. How's it, Dobbo? Salmaan, congratulations. Salmaan, just for you, we all know the family history within rugby for yourself. How proud ease your family at the moment, knowing that you will obviously lead the Stormers this season?
Yeah, it's an immense honor for them. I think sometimes seeing their faces after achievements and accomplishments is the most rewarding thing. I haven't spoken to them in depth about this. I'm sure they've seen the announcement now, but I'm really looking forward to get onto the phone and then speak to them a bit later. But they are very excited. My dad, he kind of lives in my life, or he lives his dream through me, if I can put it that way. So I'm quite happy to put a smile on his face.
Cool, thanks, Justin. Guys, are there any more questions?
Well, I mean, it's been a while. I don't know, unless I've missed something. This is the first press conference in quite a while, so maybe I could just ask Dobbo as well. What the sort of time, someone mentioned you're going into the wilderness. Well, I know where you're going. I mean, you're going to the place in the garden. It sounded like you're going into the desert. But what is you obviously got like a few preseason games. When are we going to be watching the Stormers again? I mean, people like
we maybe started later than some of the other teams for various reasons. We played much later. But also we're sort of acutely aware of a long season. So we're actually only a couple of weeks in now. So we'll play at the end of September. We'll go up to the wilderness, Gavin. Yeah, I know you like the Transkei, but we're going to the wilderness to play. We'll play 2 friendlies there, or 3 friendlies actually. We'll play SVD there on a Friday, stay on for a camp there every week, and the following Friday do another game against SVD and play a friendly against the Sharks as a double header on the Friday. I think it's the 5th or 6th of October. And then then we come back a weekend off, and then we're up at Ellis Park to play against the Lions at the start of the URC. We might try and get some form of action on the new field in those first couple of weeks of October, but it's unlikely to be a formal friendly.
Thanks.
Cool. Stephen has got his hand up again. Yes, Stephen.
Yeah, thanks. Dobbo, I just want to check with you regarding the new guys that you guys have signed. Have they all arrived and training?
There are a few new guys here. I think I think there are going to be some big movements around Western Province rugby in the next week or two. So rather, I want to get those out the way before sort of formally announcing any players. But you guys have reported on some players, and they're all here and fit and cheerful. I think the formal unveilings, and that will be the week after next, we hope, Mike. Hopefully the week after next. But I mean, I think what you guys have written and what's out in the public is pretty common cause. But we just got to respect the process. We're at the sharp end of what's been a very, very long process, and so we just need to respect that for a little while in terms of us not making announcements. I don't know if you can sort of work that out yourselves, but that's pretty much as far as I can go.
Thanks, Dobbo. Cheers, Salmaan.
Cheers, Steve.
Thanks, Steve. Okay, Leighton again. Yes, Leighton.
Dobbo, just for you, you didn't mention any names now, but just how big will the squad be that you're taking up to the wilderness, to the Southern Cape? Is it a squad that can sustain you guys for the 3 competitions, hopefully just 2 competitions?
I think I'm absolutely thrilled by the squad we've got in. And as I say, later, I'm not being. I think you the guys on this call know enough of why I'm not sort of going through saying fanfares for the players that we've got in. You sort of know who they are. I think we've got a fantastic squad. I mean, I think the best, happiest, settled probably of the 3 times. It's going to be tougher, as we know. But and then we were a squad of 57, which is much bigger. I think when we started URC, we were 41 or 42. So there's been a sort of with how fiscally prudent it is for the South African rugby industry. I think that has been debated out there. But that's what we got, and that's the squad that will take, but less. The guys are with the national team, and then we've got we've got a generational under-21 team, and we're really excited about. So we actually, as the Stormers, are sort of releasing those guys to play in the under-21 competition just because they can get some nice rugby in a well-coached, well-organized environment. So guys like Sasha Ngomazulu, Feinstein and Ngomazulu, Connor Evans, Salmaan Hartzenberg when he's back from injury, Imar Khan, and Paul de Villiers, Pupa Vukazela would all be in the Stormers squad. So they're not coming. So we'll be 50 or so going up to Wilderness. And I said that last Friday, we're actually playing 2 games, which will be great. So it's a really nice squad. I mean, the only change, the only one we sort of didn't account for in terms of getting probably was the departure of Marvin, but we were never going to stay in his way for that. And I actually think we really well covered there, because if you look at Ruben, this guy back is a massive thing for us. And then we still got Andre Smith. We can call Connor back up. BJ can go in there. And I think if Gary Porter gets run of fitness and confidence, he's a much better locker than we all realize. So really, really excited about this squad.
And just lastly from me, for you, Dobbo, you look a bit younger, if I can say so. Are you well rested? Your coach is well rested, and you guys are ready for this season. And just, if you can, is there any injury worries for the players?
Yeah, I think but yeah, the thing is, when I get thin, as people say, Norman says I look older, and I don't want to look older. So it's a tricky bet. I'm fat and I look a bit young. It's been look, I think there's high levels of enthusiasm for the season. The break wasn't as, we as I said, we started a bit later, deliberately gave the players a longer break, so and there's a good energy around here because of it. We deliberately pushed the break, the break back a bit to get the energy that we got now. Personally, feeling very enthused and excited. We know it'll be much tougher, especially in the South African Shield. You see what the other teams have done, and we know it's going to be much. You can see how the team. There's not a small teams we're playing in that European Cup, so it's going to be a much tougher season. But I think we are highly energized. We're hoping for some really good news around Western Province rugby in the next week or two. So I think we're good. We've got some nice. Every coach has come back with some nice technical improvements in their sort of various departments. I've got some stuff that I think is going to be quite nice to apply to the team. And then probably the reason for this press conference, I've just seen how, and Salmaan and I've talked about it, how leadership and captaincy in rugby, not just sports, is changing or has changed over the last year, and I think is going to change. And I think it's got the guy, as I say, it can be a generational leader. He just gets it. There's a phrase that he picked, that he used. I don't know if you guys picked up on it. I think you said you were leading from the back, something like that. So he just gets how you lead players now, and that's to have this relationship that we're going to have. That he's got with this group of guys around him. There's some remarkable people, and I presume he'll choose his group that he works with. But I mean, some remarkable leaders there. Whether it's Dion Fourie or Herschel or Damien Willems, Ruan, Anadan, whoever he's going to choose, Brocky. So that gives me that I think we're going to be even better at our integration of our mission from the coaches into the leadership into the players. So I'm really, just as a squad, I feel like this is the nicest in both ways. Nicest in terms of the quality of a human being, and nicest in terms of the excitement levels of how they're going to play and perform that I think we've had. So really excited.
Cool. We've got Ross with his hand up. Yes, Ross.
Thanks very much, Mikey. How's it, guys? Dobbo, you guys have set massive standards over the first 2 seasons of the URC, bring the competition to home finals. Last season, you did the double over all the SA teams. How do you sort of now go into this new season with that massive pressure on you, to keep those standards up? How do you sort of keep the rest of the team in line with that? And do you think that's something that you guys can continue as you go forward now?
Look, I think we messaged last season really well. It's tough being defending champions in a competition like this. It really is tough. So for us to win the SA Shield by 15 points and that, I think we did really well. The truth is we're 4.5 minutes away from keeping the title. So it's not like often when you don't win something, everything was wrong. You know what I mean? We were poor in the final. The pitch was shocking in the final where, we can go melted. The truth is we were 4.5 minutes. We were leading with the ball. A scrum in their half with 4.5 minutes to go, and then we probably messed it up. So not everything we did was wrong. What is absolutely true is that we got slightly lucky to be hosting we got lucky, or other results allowed us to host the final last year. That gives us a massive incentive, and we sold that stadium out in under 3 hours, and so it showed in terms of our mission, our why are we playing? The people that fill it faster than a test match is great. The only way we can repay people for the disappointment of not winning that game is to make sure that we host it. We can't rely on luck of somebody beating Connacht beating Ulster or whatever it was last year for us to get that to host the game. So there's a nice challenge on us that this year to be much better. You know what I mean? I know we ended second points equal with Ulster last year, but no, our goal will be to chase Leinster, to get better. The South African Shield is going to be much tighter. I don't think that feat's going to be repeated. I'm not sure when, if ever, that sort of feat will get repeated. But and I'm not sure how long the Shields are around. But what I am convinced about that we clearly need to get better. And we've identified 4 clear levers that in our game model we get right, and how we coach, and especially how we manage the players. We're going to be better. So what I'm trying to give you is a very long, convoluted answer to the fact that we felt last season, tough being defending champions, but there's stuff we need to get better. We're going to hunt to be the top team in URC now. That we control where the semi-final gets played for, not another result or the final gets played. So it's just a nicer mindset to be. I think if we're hunting and chasing, a team like Leinster, then we're going to get close. Sitting on sitting on the summit like we were last year with everybody coming at us. It's not so easy. Now we didn't win it. We've got to be better. So that's our sort of mindset this year. And I think someone would agree. We've got the levers. We know exactly what we need to do. So like we think, we redlined last year. We were fantastic, and we hosted a final. No. There are 4 big things we move, and we become a very, very good team.
With the squad that you've built now, one of the struggles that you guys did have last season was your form away from home in Europe. And then also you had the massive challenge of the Champions Cup. So with the squad that you built, do you think that you guys are in a much better position now in terms of challenging in the Champions Cup and also improving that form when you go touring in Europe?
Yeah, the touring thing, all our losses, even that final felt like on that field where if you're a scrumming, transition and line speed team, you can't step, you can't get off the line, you can't recover if if you need to get back onto the line, and you can't scrum, and you got 2 of the world's best props. So that was Northern. Every game we've lost. Connacht in the first round, Glasgow in the rain this year. Cardiff in the rain, Glasgow on the 4G. That stuff. That's technical. That's not a players thing. That's a coaching thing. We have to. It's certainly not a will from our players. We have to understand that Northern Hemisphere kicking game and how to trap teams better. And that's one of the 4 things, to be absolutely honest with you. So that's clear, and that's something we have to get better at. Secondly, as regards to Champions League, I don't think we're the squad. If you go Exeter away in a European quarterfinal and come and play Munster at home in a must-win league game because we had our home record, and then if we'd won that game to be back on a plane to La Rochelle, have we got the squad for that yet? No. You need 35 guys who Heineken Cups playing level players. But I do think we've got the squad to get out of what is the group of death. And I think that'll be a fantastic achievement, and we're going to do that. And if we can get a bit further than that, great. We do have, which we didn't have last year, guys we could probably leave at home to honor URC fixtures a bit better. So I'm anticipating, we've got by far, a group which has got the European champions of last season, Leicester, the European finalists who were leading for a long time, Sale of this year, the English finalists, the English champions of last year, the European champions. I know we don't play them directly. The European double champions at La Rochelle, Leinster. Not that we play against them, but they're still got a team that's going to want to get out of the group, and we're going to be competing against them for that. And I know Stade Français haven't been overperforming, but us to go to Paris to play again is going to be a hell of a tough. But so our goal there is to get out of this group of death, which we're going to do, and then see how far we get after that. With the more European experience we have, and the better we get at the management of squad. So sorry, Ross, it's a long answer. I do think we've got better URC players, more depth there for us to be more clever in our European selection than we were last year. That we've got that team that's going to go storm through and honor all commitments. Leinster haven't managed to do it over the last few years. La Rochelle, they were close to Toulouse in the top 14 final. They haven't managed to do it. So we will be better at it this year. But hopefully our finals are still to come next year when we've got sort of more player depth in terms of Heineken Cup experience. Every game we play, we've got so much experience on that Exeter thumping.
Just lastly, from my side, you guys have got a good contingent in the Boks squad. Obviously, competing in France in a couple of weeks. Do you think that how well the guys do there will be quite important in the momentum they bring back into your squad? Obviously, with you guys having started the RC before the end of the tournament, and those Oaks will then have to be reintegrated, sort of having missed out on this preseason. And so do you think how well that Marnie, Damien, and those Oaks will play a part?
Look, it will play a part, not perhaps the part of last year or before. Our numbers have dropped. Yeah, Evan didn't go, Joseph's come back, Herschel didn't make it. So, yeah, our numbers are down, and that's one of the horrible challenges, Do you want so many Springboks? We had a sort of middle road last year. The Sharks had a lot, and you saw the effect it had on that. So, but I think, if you look at our tour, which we'll probably go on without the Springboks, the first thing is that whenever the Springboks finish, and God willing, it's right at the last game of the competition, those guys must recover. That's going to have been through a normal, stressful, and intense period. No matter what the physical resting is, the most important from our point of view is go away and play rugby when you're ready again, whatever the protocols are. I want those guys to get over what happens in France, where hopefully it's a big celebration. And we go on a tour, which I think, I'll get this right now, Glasgow away, lost there last year. Treviso away, lost there in the first URC. Munster took our home record and beat us in the final here in Cape Town. And Cardiff, who we lost last year in the Paulington. So really tough tour. 2 games before we go on that. We've got the group to do really well in those games. And I think the team will have a nice life and of its own before those guys come back in. So it's not like we're going to be knocking on the door waiting for them or dependent on them. We'll have to be good enough by ourselves, independent of them, and we will be. And when they come back, good, as and when, because they'll come back. We'll make sure when they come back with a smile on their face. Of course, the guys are walking around, it's going to have energy. But, it has been announced, Warwick Geland back here and Blomme will be fine. I want them to recover from it and when they're ready to add maximum value, then they come back to us. But I don't feel like last year there were a few phone calls. Yeah, when can we have Captaincy back? When can we have that back? I don't think our mindset's quite that same this year. I think, given the World Cup and given the reduced number on our side.
Cool, guys. So we've got Stephen and Justin, and we're going to leave it there. Thanks, Stephen.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Sorry, guys, lost from me, promise. Dobber, you just mentioned the levers, and you mentioned one. I just wondered what the other 3 were. And then just regarding the
changes to the game model.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Sorry, carry on, Steve. Sorry.
And then just have you guys been given an indication, kind of a date when the field will be ready and when there will be sort of some kind of unveiling for you guys?
Yeah, so I think on the levers, I think I meant departures, but on the levers, I obviously don't want to go into too much detail, Steve, because it's technically based, but there's some big tweaking our tax shape. We're quite keen on our tax system. Us probably getting better on understanding 4G pitches and was that one of 4G pitches. I've mentioned the Northern Hemisphere conditions. Something on our tax shape, and then I just feel like there's some stuff around our breakdown we could get a little bit better at. We've watched what's happened over the last few months in World Rugby. So those are probably the area. It's those 4 areas. I think if we get those 4, produce faster ball, it's going to help our attack. It's pretty simple. We've got something we're going to do on the shape, which obviously I can't talk about. So those are the 4 areas we're working on. There's quite a bit of technical detail underneath it. And then as regards the field, we want to be training there. I think we could have got on there late September, but we will be in the wilderness, Gavin. So we'll from that as soon as we get back from camp, we'll be on the field, and we might play some sort of contact session or match practice or something there the week of the 8th of October.
Cool. We'll finish with Justin. Yes, Justin.
Very much. Cheers, guys.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Salmaan, net kortliks in Afrikaans vir jou, asseblief as jy nie omgee nie. Net die gevoel dat jy nog gekies is as die leier van die Stormerspan in hierdie seisoen, en wat dit bedoel vir jou dat Dobbo en sy leierskap nou geloof het in jou om die Stormers aan die voortlyn kan dra, of die agterlyn soos jy sê.
Okay. Ja, ek wil net baie dankie sê aan die coaches dat hulle in my glo. Is my baie groot eer om die span te lei. Soos ek gesê het vroeër, as ek op 'n Saterdag goed kan speel, is dit halfte van my job klaar. Geez, my Afrikaans is shocking, but I hope that answers your question, Justin.
Afrikaans vraag nie.
Thanks so much. It works.
Hy klink soos ek.
Cool guys, bye.
Good guys. Thank you.
Yeah, from me. Okay, cheers.